From the New York City area, welcome to the Badass Counseling Show, where the master badass himself, Sven takes you deep and gives balm for the soul, baby.
Well, hello. It's great to have you here. You have reached the Badass Counseling Show podcast, and this is a counseling episode of this show. I'm Sven Erlandson, the host of this show, and wherever you are joining us from, be it the Amalfi Coast or the southern tip of South Africa or way down under in Australia, or perhaps you are at the headwaters of the Mississippi River at Lake Itasca in my home country of northern Minnesota, or lastly, on the Air Force training base of Lackland, Florida, where my brother was back in 1974 when he entered Air Force boot camp. If you are in any of those places or anywhere else, it's just really great to have you here joining our show. I am joined by my two hosts, KC, who is out of the booth and joining us remotely, as well as Rob the Rocket. KC and Rob, what say ye?
Good morning, everyone. My co-hosts like to spring things on me.
So just for the record, it was surprising that we would say hello to you this morning?
My brain works a little bit slower than everybody else's.
I don't buy that for a second. Don't buy it for a second. Rob, what say ye?
I myself am sometimes stuck for an ad lib when someone says good morning, but I work on that. So let's rock, shall we?
Really? I thought you guys that in the civilized world, the good morning is generally responded to with good morning.
Good to know.
Or some such thing. All right. Well, let's dive right in. Rob, tell us about Tawny.
I would be happy to, Sven. Tawny wrote in and said, I'm 43. My husband is 54. We've been married 17 years. For the first 13, our marriage was mostly great, almost a fairy tale. We had challenges, but nothing we couldn't work through. Communication was strong. I had found the man of my dreams. Then, literally overnight, 4 years ago, everything changed. My once kind and sensitive-ish husband became angry, hostile, impulsive, and compulsive. The last 4 years have been full of therapy, mine, his, and marriage counseling, plus psychiatry. I read your book, applied it, and was preparing to leave what had become a verbally and emotionally abusive marriage. Then, a few weeks ago, we found a doctor who finally took us seriously and ordered an MRI. The result, a cerebellar stroke. It explained his personality shift. How we missed the signs is crazy in itself, but a perfect storm. Now I'm struggling with grief over the husband I lost, adjusting to this new life, and with accepting that the man I married no longer exists as he was. I'm trying to figure out how to be both a caregiver and a wife. I'm also struggling to cope with his anger, his outbursts, and the impulsive behavior that continues. I need help.
Hello, Tawny. How are you?
Hello. I've been better, but I'm okay today.
Understood. Tawny, let's get after it. Impulsive behavior. What specifically are you referring to?
So pornography became a big issue. And when I speak of impulsive behavior, it is just impulsively deciding, even if he's in public, that's a fine place to pull it up on his phone. Just a lot of sexual things that are impulsive.
Like what else besides pulling up porn on his phone in public?
Spending money recklessly.
On?
Any pornography.
Okay, porn. Okay.
Things of that. That's been the main issue throughout this situation, has been his pornography and actually seeking out women in real life scenarios as well.
And so what's interesting about that is, well, many things. One, you, in your write-up, you say in your final sentence, I'm also struggling to cope with his anger, his outbursts, and the impulsive behavior that continues. And then I just scratch a little bit below, what do you mean by define impulsive behavior? And you say pornography, decisions to, for instance, in public, pull up pornography, spending money recklessly. I say on what? You say on porn. I say what else? You say seeking out women in real life. So what's fascinating is that all of the the porn, spending money recklessly on porn, going to women in real life scenarios. You framed all of that in your write-up sentence as impulsive behavior. You didn't frame it as porn and hitting on women in real life and spending money on porn. You didn't say that. You sort of used a euphemism. You put a nice word on it and just a little bit of scratching. It's like, oh, shit. Oh, wow. I just have to ask, what's the reason you chose to call it impulsive behavior rather than saying some really like serious or like big like porn / sex stuff / basically infidelity, seeking out women in real life? Why didn't you say that? I'm not scolding you. I'm not chewing your butt.
Oh, you're good. So prior to about a month and a half ago, I would have. But since finding out about his stroke, I have learned a lot about how impulsive behavior is a key factor in the type of stroke he had. I mean, he has cognitive affective syndrome from that stroke. And it's essentially, from what I was able to learn from his doctors, is it also affected his dopamine, which affects his impulsive and compulsive behaviors. And so I've kind of toned back some on it and tried to not necessarily excuse the behavior, but understand maybe why it was an issue.
It's interesting. Let me ask you this. I've tried to not excuse, but understand. Okay. I'm going to ask you a straight question.
Okay.
You're being very gracious in trying to be understanding. I applaud that. Right. Let me ask you, do you understand it? Has this effort, do you understand the porn, the hitting on women in real life and so forth?
I don't understand it from a marital, emotional, but from an intellectual side, I do.
Okay.
I do understand.
Fair enough. And just so I'm clear, just so we're like crystal clear, when you say seeking out women in real life, what exactly does that mean?
So what that means is he will hit on and flirt. But if he sees an attractive woman, it's like even if we are together, he will follow said woman so that he can watch her.
Okay. And follow and watch, hit on and flirt in your company, you said?
Yes.
And follow and watch women. And you only know this presumably because you are with him when he's doing it?
Yes.
Oh my. Okay. And just out of curiosity, I've got to ask, has he actually approached women? Is he trying to connect with women, contacting women to the best of your knowledge?
And there was one early on before we knew about his stroke about 3 years ago. He was very interested in this woman, and she wasn't as interested in him. Nothing really developed other than more of like an emotional affair.
And how did it develop? Was it in person, by phone, online, at church? Where was it?
It was phone and work.
Phone and work. So he works with her?
Yes, but not in person.
All right. And that was 3 years ago. And how did you find out about it?
Just odd behavior. Something told me something was up. Whenever he would speak with her, he would leave the room, would not speak with her in front of me.
So your intuition, your spidey senses. There you go. All right.
Yes.
Good girl. All right. So that's good. And you listened. Presumably you confronted him and he admitted it?
No.
So what happened?
He denied it, told me that, I was imagining things, that he had to speak with her because they worked together, which was very understandable. And I just didn't buy it. And one day she happened to call while we were in the vehicle, and it was a work-related phone call. And she made kind of an out of the way comment. And I remember looking at him and saying, so it's just work?
I got to ask. I want to ask because I guarantee you remember what the comment was.
Oh, I do.
Yeah, you do. What was the comment? I got to hear.
So we were together because he'd had a doctor's appointment.
Sure.
And we went together. were in the vehicle, and she called to find out what time he would be able to come in for the day. And he said, I've just got to stop at the pharmacy and pick up my medication. And she goes, oh, you better be a good boy and take your medicine. If not, I will come there and make you enjoy taking it.
There it is. I will come there and make you enjoy taking it. All right. And just so we're clear, it's going to sound like a dumb question, but go ahead and tell me what to you is wrong about if you don't take it, if I'll come there and make you be a good boy and taking it.
It was very inappropriate for that type of work relationship.
Because why? What is it? What is she really saying?
To me, it was more like a sexual innuendo.
Yeah, sure sounds that way, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You called him out, and then what happened?
He stayed at his job. I pretty much gave him an ultimatum to look for another job. It took him some time. He promised me that there would be no more inappropriate conversations, and for a while there was not.
So basically, you had caught him red-handed, and he admitted then something, or how?
He more or less admitted that she was the one. She was the pursuer.
Oh, what a fucking coward. Oh, what a fucking coward. Okay, go ahead. Anyway, so it went dark for a while, went silent for a while, and then what? Because you seem to imply that inappropriate sort of talk fired back up again?
Yes.
How long later?
I don't know that it actually really stopped.
Right. And how much longer later did you catch it?
Probably about 6 months.
Okay. 6 months. All right. And then what's the exciting conclusion to that story?
I kicked him out.
Oh, that's fucking awesome.
And we were separated for a little while. And he ultimately found another job and changed jobs, changed his personal cell phone number, did all of the things that I told him I needed to feel safe again in our relationship.
Wait a minute there, young lady. So you kicked him out. You're like, fuck this. Threw his sorry ass out. You lying sack of shit. Throw him out. And just quick reference, how long was he out?
About 6 months.
6 months? Okay.
6 months.
Okay, fair. He gets you for some, hey, you got to get a new fucking job. You got to cut her off. You got to change your phone number, X, Y, and Z beyond that. And he did it?
Yes.
Wait a minute.
Yes.
Wait a minute. Just so I'm clear. This period of time was 3 years ago. This was after the cerebellar stroke. Is that correct?
Correct. But we were not aware at that time.
No, right. You only in the last month or so found out about the stroke. But the stroke had happened. So the effects of the stroke, the cognitive affective syndrome you spoke of, the dopamine, blah, blah, blah that you spoke of, all those things were happening, right?
Correct.
But he changed them.
Correct.
Oh.
And this is where I struggle.
So this is not some fucking permanent, unchangeable state. He has the capacity to change post-stroke. After the stroke, he has this capacity to change. It's not like, oh, I'm an unfrozen caveman lawyer. Your strange ways frighten and confuse me. I can't change. No, he can fucking change. When his feet are to the fire, he can fucking change. When there's something at stake for him, dance, baby, dance. He can fucking dance. Am I correct?
Correct.
Oh. So then, just so I'm clear, why the fuck is he hitting on and flirting with women, following and watching him when watching women, which is like creepy as fuck? And God knows what else he's doing that he's getting away with, because each of those times that happened 3 years ago, and I hate to be the bearer of bad news, not trying to be a dick, that just made him a better cheater. Why? Because now he probably has a burner phone. Now he's much more secretive. Now he's taking his calls on fucking WhatsApp so that he can't get caught. Whatever. Now, if he is, and I'm not saying he is, hey, maybe he's seen the light, praise Jesus, hallelujah, praise the Lord, and he's not doing it. But no, he is. hitting on and flirting with women, seeking out women in real life, engaging in pornography, pulling out porn in real life, spending money recklessly on porn. He is saying, fuck you. I can change. I don't want to change. What's fascinating is he has the capacity to work. Is he still going to his job?
Yes.
Oh.
That is actually questionable on whether he should be. We're waiting on some testing from a neurologist
Fair.
to actually figure out, because we don't know the extent of the stroke damage exactly.
And you don't know if he should be because it involves safety issues with regard to his work, something like that, or what?
Yeah, similar to that.
Fair, but let me ask you this. Has he gotten fired from his work for showing up late day after day after day because he just can't keep a schedule?
No, because I keep a schedule for him.
Okay, fair. Is he...
He will not get up in the morning. I have to make him get up, and that is something that was very new 4 years ago, right around where the stroke occurred. He was always up and on time. He was a workaholic, and then suddenly he didn't want to get up. He didn't want to go to work. Sleep was a problem.
I see. So you are, you know what's interesting?
I'm essentially his mother.
Yeah, I was sort of going to say that because, I have clients, where their kids are, 17 and the kid doesn't want to get out of bed and go to school. Now, we all had those days. I know I did when I was 17. But then I got clients, maybe they, they're 6 and they live, in the city or in a suburb, or maybe they live out on a ranch. And their parents just tell them, you rise and shine. There's work to do, or it's just, today is beautiful. Let's get up and enjoy this beautiful day. They're eager to get up. But a lot of kids, that's kind of how a kid acts. Oh, Mom, I don't want to get up. So you got to go in and, hey, wake up, sweetheart.
Right. And there are a lot of childish behaviors since 4 years ago.
It sounds like it.
A lot.
It sounds like it. So here we are. He's fundamentally, but we haven't really gotten even to the heart of the issue regarding porn, pulling up porn in public, spending money recklessly on porn, seeking out women in real life, hitting on, flirting on women, cheating on you, carrying on this surreptitious, and you don't know that it wasn't physical. You know goddamn well he wouldn't tell you if it was.
Correct.
There is nothing in his pattern of behaviors that indicates he would admit anything. He's only going to create what I call in my books the illusion of transparency. He's going to tell you as much as he needs to tell you to get away with it. He ain't going to tell you 1 ounce more, because the 1 ounce more is the really damning stuff. If there is more. Now, there may not be. But if there is,
we've already had, yes, sir. You're spot on.
Oh,
that is exactly how it's been.
He ain't going to tell you shit. All right. So you're having to fundamentally trust a person who's already proven they're untrustworthy because they're a fucking liar and they're a fucking cheater and in front of you.
Right. And none of this was really an issue 4 years ago. The lying, we had very open, honest communication prior, and it's like literally overnight.
Okay.
And that's where, it's left me questioning our entire relationship.
Of course it has. And it's left you, I have to believe it would also leave you questioning all the years beforehand, because while it felt nice, you're still going to question it. It's like, well, it's night and day. Yes, it was 4 years ago, but you don't fully know. But okay, let's just say 4 years, the bad stuff started. But nonetheless, we still haven't hit on the central issue of what he's been doing. Yes, the cope with his anger. Yes, the outbursts. Yes, all these impulsive sexual behaviors. The really core issue is that when you do this, honey, to me, your wife, when you hit on these women, when you flirt with these women, when you follow and watch these women, when you seek out these women in real life, when you cheated on me with this woman, when you download this pornography, when you spend money recklessly on money, apart from the fact that it hurts us financially, you're hurting me. You are telling me you don't want me. You are telling me I am not good enough for you. And that hurts every single fucking day. Why don't you just drive a fucking dagger into my heart and twist it every fucking day? And I have to understand because some fucking doctor said you had a fucking stroke and I got to eat this shit for the rest of my miserable fucking life that used to be so pretty and nice with you. And now I have to eat this shit? Fuck you. Fuck this. Am I like in left field here? Am I totally wackadoodle on this?
No, that's how I feel.
Of course you do.
And I feel like but I also feel selfish for feeling that way.
Oh, God, no. Don't. Do not. If you want to feel that every day of your life, fine. Not on my fucking show. Because I guarantee you, every woman and every man who has ever been cheated on knows exactly what you're feeling right now. Well, but that may not even be true. That's not even true. Nope. I want to back that up. Every woman or man or non-binary or whatever person who's ever been cheated on knows how you felt 3 years ago when you were cheated on. But see, this is a different animal. There's a fucking giant ass fucking wrench that got thrown into your F-150 truck. Because what the fucking doctor is saying, what the fucking husband is saying, what your vows are saying, what society, quote unquote, is saying, maybe your own parents, his parents, what the world is saying is you got to stay with him now. You're stuck with this dagger in your heart every day. If you're going to be a good wife and a good girl, you shouldn't listen to your own voice that this hurts, this hurts, this hurts. You have to just understand that he is this serial cheater and porn guy and waster of money, and he's going to, follow women everywhere, and you got to eat the shit. So cheaters, I'm sorry, a cheater doesn't understand. It's not the same because a cheater 99.999 times out of 100 can walk away unless there's extraordinary cases of abuse or something like that. You can't. On one hand, you really can't because you're saying, hey, oh, you should feel bad for him. So wait a minute, I'm obligated because of some fucking medical condition. I'm obligated to feel bad for this person. I'm obligated to stay with someone who's driving a fucking dagger into my heart every day of my fucking life. No, I don't think cheaters can understand that. I've been cheated on. It was nothing like that because I could walk away. I could get a divorce. And I have to believe. Now, I'll stop here for a second. You have to correct me on this or confirm on this. I have to believe you feel an immense amount of guilt at the mere thought of walking away, knowing how much pain you are in. The mere thought. I'm not pushing you to walk away. I'm not saying you're even thinking about walking away. I'm just asking a question. Because you give somebody a massive amount of pain, the idea of walking away certainly crossed their mind at some point. Maybe when you're in the fucking, sugared cereal aisle at the store, it's like, am I getting Fruit Loops or Lucky Charms? And then you just stop and it's like, fuck, I don't know if I can do this for the rest of my life. Should I walk away? Okay, so at the thought of walking away, though, I gotta believe there's just this astronomical guilt. This fucker can't even wipe his own ass, let alone get out of bed. And poor guy who I used to love, still do, maybe, whatever. This is just his fate. He just chases women, and I'm obligated to stay with him. Do you feel guilt? Do you feel what? You got to be stuck in the middle of something here. Talk to me.
I do feel guilty. I have already spoken with an attorney, and as I said, I was on my way out the door.
Yeah.
I actually purchased your books, and that was what actually helped me to open my eyes more.
But I'm talking about since the diagnosis.
But since it's like this overwhelming guilt, like I said, for better, for worse, in sickness and in health.
But wait a minute. That doesn't make sense now. Hold on. Because before the diagnosis, you had talked to an attorney. Right. Which means you were okay adjusting to the guilt before the diagnosis. It's like, okay, I can deal with it. And, for better or for worse, you were okay adjusting to the for better or for worse before the diagnosis.
Correct. Like I didn't really have guilt prior to the diagnosis.
Exactly. Right. So the for better or for worse, which existed prior to his diagnosis, you were seeing the divorce later and you're like, you know what? I can walk away from the for better or for worse. I can walk away from it. He's been a shit. This relationship, I'm just done. The anger, all this crap, it's bullshit. Okay. So you were okay walking away from the for better or for worse. But now that you have this diagnosis, you feel the guilt has kicked in about the for better or for worse. You feel guiltier because the worse has gotten worse. And because, he can't help it. He's just this... It's his medical condition. I'm obligated now. Is that what you're saying?
His doctors don't necessarily say he can't help it. They say there's medications, and he is on medications to try to help with the impulsive behavior. But it's like
What?
they help. They especially help the newer aggressive behaviors that he had developed.
Right.
But it's still in the back of my mind. Everything, even pre-diagnosis, is like it's just hard for me to comprehend.
Okay. I have so many questions, but I'm going to ask those right after a short break.
I am one of the lucky few who've had the privilege not only to read his books, but also to experience Sven face-to-face for countless one-on-one sessions. His intelligence, knowledge, and deep empathy have had a deep impact on me and the people I love. And I can say that he is amongst the most important people in my life for the last 10 plus years. I am thankful for you, badass Sven.
This show provides soul counseling intended to entertain and inform and is not medical advice. Now, back to the badass.
And we are back with Tawny. I want to ask you this question, Tawny. You had said in your write-up in the final paragraph, I'm struggling with grief over the husband I lost, adjusting to this new life, and with accepting that the man I married no longer exists as he was. I'm trying to figure out how to be both a caregiver and a wife. You make the statement, I'm trying to figure out how to be a caregiver and a wife. I want to ask you this question that precedes that question. And this is going to be a real honesty check. We're going to see how honest you're capable of being today.
Okay.
And you've been great so far. I'm kind of teasing you by saying that, but we're going to see how capable of being honest, how capable you are of being honest. You say, I'm trying to figure out how to be both a caregiver and a wife. What percent? You never have to act on this. I'm not pushing you to take any action. I'm just asking a question. What percent do you want to be a caregiver and a wife to this specific person?
Wow.
Before you answer, give me the feeling word of what you are feeling when you said, wow. When you heard me ask that question and you said, wow, give me the feeling word that you are feeling right now.
Stuck.
Stuck. Give me another feeling word.
Overwhelmed.
Okay. One more feeling word. You're doing great.
Anxious.
Anxious. What's the most anxious part or the most anxiety? Anxiety is sort of in the fear family. What's the scariest part right now about what you're feeling right now, about that question, about the wow? What's the scariest part?
Having to deal with these behavior issues for the rest of my life or his.
Fair. Now answer the question. What percent do you want to be caregiver and wife to this particular person?
0. And I think that's where I'm stuck because before I keep thinking of the man and the relationship we had before.
Well, okay. Let's, first of all, I have no way of knowing if you're being honest in that 0%. However, 0% or anything below like 50 was a ballsy thing to say. Someone who stayed married and gone through all this shit and probably feels all that guilt for you to say, when you open by saying, I'm trying to figure out how to do this, marry, this caregiver, wife thing. And I say, do you even want to? And you say something low. I'm like, whoa, that's a big realization. But you go to the fucking bottom. You're like, I don't. I literally don't. And then you say, and that's where I'm stuck because I think about the man that basically once was. Well, let's rewind the tape on that just a little bit to that man that once was. Do you want to know what the single most interesting part of your entire bio write-up that you sent to us was for me? Single most interesting part? I'm going to tell you. It wasn't a sentence. It wasn't even a word. It was a suffix. You wrote in your second paragraph, then literally overnight, 4 years ago, everything changed. My once kind and sensitive-ish husband became angry, hostile, impulsive, and compulsive. Sensitive-ish. I'm really curious. What percent, if you're being totally honest, looking at it now, in retrospect, for those first 13 years before the cerebellar stroke, in those 13 years, what percent was your husband sensitive?
With me
With
in our
you.
relationship, I would say about 80%.
That's not sensitive-ish. That's sensitive. Why did you say sensitive-ish? You said
Because
my
we
once
did have
kind
issues.
and sensitive-ish.
Because we did have some of our issues where we were kind of at an impasse, over the years.
What is the biggest way your husband was not sensitive in the first 13 years of your marriage? Biggest way you just felt your needs for sensitivity were not being met. I'm just curious. And I have no doubt he was a peach, but I'm just curious. You're the one that fucking put it there. So I want to know what the hell you didn't say sensitive. Because if somebody's like 80% a good dude, to me, I'm like, he's a fucking great dude. If somebody's 60% a good dude or 55%, I'm like, he's a good dude. If somebody's 40%, a good dude, I'm like, a little bit of a dick. If he's 20% a good dude, I'm like, I have no desire to be around that fuck stick. All right. So there are gradations. You say somebody's 80% something, that's a majority. That's a B on a test. That's a good fucking grade. All right. But you said ish. What's the ish? What is the biggest way he was not sensitive to you in those first Baker's Dozen +1 years?
Probably in some bigger decision making that affected us as a family together.
And just out of curiosity, and I mean, full Baker's Dozen, 13 years. In family decisions, how was he not sensitive?
So, as I said before, prior to the stroke, he was quite a bit of a workaholic. He enjoyed his career and his job. So he would make decisions regarding his career, taking transfers and promotions that would take us out of state and moving a lot without really discussing with me. And that's where the ish kind of comes in.
Got it. And just so I'm clear then, so you're saying on these massive decisions, it could be argued that where we're going to live is kind of one of the biggest decisions. Whether or not to have kids, that's another big one. I mean, those are some of the biggest relationships that a couple is going to handle. And you're iced out of that conversation completely. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. So then on the biggest decisions in your marriage, you had no voice. What's interesting to me about that is if somebody's willing to do that in the biggest decisions, it seems to me they wouldn't have much fear of doing that in medium or small decisions of not caring about your voice. Now, is that an inaccurate statement here? Did he care about your voice? And I don't mean, did he say nice things to you? Gosh, you look so pretty today, honey, and thanks for dinner. I'm talking about your voice. What percent did you feel heard, genuinely heard in your marriage? Who you are, your feelings, your emotions, your wants, your needs in your marriage in the first 13 years?
I would say it was close to that 80%. It was still
okay. So the big
the
decisions, then, on the smaller and medium decisions, you felt heard and so forth.
Right. But on the bigger career type and moving and transfer, it was more or less, I think he felt that, she'll follow me anywhere and this will help our family and it is improving, so she'll be good with it. It was a lot of assumptions on his end.
And did you, just out of curiosity, did you ever express to him that you didn't like that?
Yes.
And his response?
He would apologize and he would tell me that he just assumed I would be okay with it because it meant a better financial position for our family.
And yet you said transfers, promotions. So you're talking multiple times. So I'm assuming the first time you told him, he apologized and then he just kept doing it, right?
The first time I didn't really speak up because I was okay with it. The second time actually took us 11 hours away from home. So, and in the middle of a school year for our children.
Right. So clearly you spoke up on that one. How many times did it happen after that?
I believe one other time.
Okay.
It was one other time.
And so he did it after that. So even though he apologized that second time,
right.
Fundamentally, the apology was bullshit. I don't fucking care. I'm making the decision anyway.
Pretty much.
Right. And so what's the underlying message that the husband is conveying to the wife in that situation?
I would agree.
What's the underlying message? Say it.
What you want doesn't matter to me.
How about that? Right. And now he's doing that every day. Now it's every day. Now it's not just the moves and so forth. Okay, so but back to what you were saying is you're feeling stuck between this man that he once was and the marriage that you had and what it's become. And just out of curiosity, which are you grieving more? The marriage you once had or the man he used to be?
The marriage that we had. Other than, the job locations, we had really good communication over things and other issues and just being able to speak to one another. And now I can ask him, hey, what time do you think you'll be in from work? And he's blowing up and screaming. And
how does that feel? How does that feel? Give me a feeling word.
Confused.
Okay, him blowing up and so forth. Over the last 4 years, how has him blowing up, his anger and his outbursts, how has it felt? Give me 3 feeling words. Confused is 1. Give me 2 more. When he blows up and is angry all the time.
I feel sad.
Okay, give me 1 more.
And frustrated.
Okay. Any sort of, is there ever any fear in there?
Yes.
And
yes, there is.
Is there ever any anger in there?
Yes. Like, why can I not ask a simple question of when you will be home without being screamed at?
Okay, so now the money question. Money question is, if I'm not pushing, I'm just asking, if you were to choose to walk away from him, to go back to the lawyer that you had already spoken to, or a new lawyer, or what have you, if you were to choose to divorce your husband, knowing now all things on the table, the cerebellar stroke, and all things considered, if you were to choose to divorce him, at the thought of that, what is the single biggest fear that you have in 1 sentence or less?
The fear of the unknown.
Okay. Be more specific. What unknown are you most afraid of?
Being alone.
And just so I'm clear, when he is working, does he travel for his work?
Occasionally.
Okay. When he's gone and traveling, how do you function on your own?
It's bliss.
No outbursts and so forth. Okay. So the idea of functioning on your own isn't the issue, is it?
No.
So we're talking about, it's not the idea of being alone. It's the idea of not having someone. Am I in the ballpark or is it something else?
Not really not having someone, but just the change. Like so much change.
So much change. Yeah. Did I hear your voice break a little bit there?
A little bit, yes.
And what's the scariest part about so much change? Is it, I don't know if I can do it or what?
I know I can. I know I can do it. It's just
big breath.
It's just a fear of the unknown, like moving, packing up house, moving. I welcome new experiences, but this would be an experience I would set out on my own, or all of our children are grown now.
Not having someone. Okay, now I got to find a house. Now I got to rent a truck. Now I got to drive. Now I got to unpack. Where do I want to put my rhododendron? Where do I want to put my Moses and the bulrushes? Where, all my plants and what am I going to do? Am I going to work? And is anyone ever going to love me again? And all these things.
think I want another relationship.
And
with
that's fair too.
anyone, really.
That's fair too. That's fair too. Are people going to like me? Just all sorts of things. You betcha. And the truth is, those are all legit. So it turns out it's really not the fear of the unknown per se. That when I pushed you just now, I said, well, what's the unknown? What are the unknowns? You said, well, moving and this and that. Oh, so it's not unknowns. It's not unknowns. You know what the unknowns are. It's just breaking up into small size bites. And it's just so much of it. And will it be okay? And just when I asked you, sort of what's the biggest part? You took that deep breath. You went, oh. In other words, that's an expression of just feeling overwhelmed. Like, this is big. Like, am I really ready to do this? But it's not just the actual actions here, Tawny. What you're fundamentally doing is you are shedding. Like when an acorn or a walnut gets dropped into the earth and the pressure of the earth cracks open that hard shell so that seed can shoot a root down so that it can become a new, oak tree or can become a new walnut tree. It has to crack open that shell. You're cracking open the shell that has been yourself, this person you've always been, so that the real you can come out, because it's this real you, the authentic you that was always there, that is breaking open and finally finding your no. This is too much. No, I don't have to do this. This hurts. No, I don't like this life anymore. This idea of I just have to serve and serve and serve no matter how hard it is for me. I just have to eat this shit no matter how bad it is. No. And life begins at no. And that is where that shell cracks open finally. And you begin to send down roots down into the earth to find your nourishment. That is where the new self begins. That is the new life of that fruit that's inside the nut. That fruit begins to germinate, begins to grow. Yeah, it's scary. No doubt about it. I'm just curious in that notion of fear. I'm just curious. If you were to divorce your husband, no pressure. This is non-actionable. We're just talking. If you were to choose to divorce your husband, what is the one sentence above all else, one sentence that you most fear someone saying to you or thinking about you if you were to divorce your husband? One sentence.
He had a stroke. Why wouldn't she stay and understand?
He had a stroke. Why wouldn't she stay and understand? And let me ask you this. Is there an even tighter version, or is there something, taking that in mind and tightening it up or is there an even shorter version that might hurt even more? I mean, that's a great sentence. Don't get me wrong. I love that sentence. We can run with that one. Is there an even shorter version? Like, what a selfish bitch. Or
yes, selfish, horrible person for leaving.
Selfish, horrible person for leaving. And I have to ask, selfish, horrible person for leaving. Now we're putting it into really raw language, right? Who in your life, living or dead, is the one person most likely to either say that to you or think that about you? Who is the one person most likely to either say it or think it? Oh, you're smiling. Who is it?
My mother.
There it is. Isn't it fascinating? We're having a conversation about you, about your husband, about a doctor, and all of a sudden your mom pops into the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
What percent, whether she said it or thought it, what percent do you fear that sentence? Because I'm betting if, Mr. James down at the A&P grocery store said, oh, boy, you're a selfish, horrible person for leaving your husband after that diagnosis. And, Mrs. Honor right next to him is saying, yeah, but he was a cheating dick. But Mr. James thinks that. You're probably thinking, fuck you, Mr. James. But to get it from your mother is a different animal. What percent give me a percent, do you fear your mother saying that or thinking that to you if you were to divorce your husband? What percent?
She has passed away, but it's her living,
living inside your brain, your gut.
So if she was here, it would have been 99% because she was a caregiver to my father who was.
And now, even though she is dead, what percent do you fear that voice inside you even still if you were to divorce your husband? Be honest. What percent would that attack you from within and you fear it?
75%.
There it is. And just out of curiosity, if that number weren't quite accurate, if there were a more accurate number, what might the more accurate number be?
Oh, it'd be higher.
Like what?
It would be like 95. It would be, the accurate number would probably be 95, the thoughts going in my head.
Right. Your mom's still running your life. And so what this boils down to fundamentally isn't even a choice between you and your husband. This goes back to when you were 7, when you were 10. This is you finally choosing your voice versus mom's voice. You've been taught your whole life not to believe your own voice. You've been taught your whole life that your emotions, your wants, your needs don't matter. And so you've just dismissed it. You've always questioned your own voice. And so right now, in this moment in time, and you are crying right in front of me, for our listeners, they can't see it. You are being that little girl. You are going back to that little girl, and you are saying to her, your voice matters. I'm stepping in here. Woman, you're speaking to your mother on behalf of that 7-year-old, that 17-year-old, that 27-year-old, that 37-year-old. And now at 43, you are saying, woman, sit down, shut up. My voice matters. You are choosing finally at this profound juncture of your life, your voice versus your mother's voice. Who wins? What are you feeling right now? Give me a feeling word.
A relief that I finally, with speaking to someone, figured out why I was stuck.
That's it. It's mom. Relief. Rob and KC, I want to open it up to you guys. Thoughts, questions, comments, feelings?
First of all, the mom stuff that Sven just unlocked, brilliant. I'm so glad you have the book. And I really hope you're going to dive in and do the exercises, especially. If finances allow, I welcome you to join Community Plus, because I think there you'll find a community of people that are doing the work just like you are to get to the root of why they, are suffering and put up with stuff like this. I'm in the group. There are many other people in the group that will help support you. And then I really think that we have never had anyone like you on the show before. Okay, we have never had anyone that I can remember that is dealing with what you are dealing with.
Right.
And my heart goes out to you because I have had to deal with this in my life. And I'm sorry that I'm getting emotional, but I have had a loved one that went from being my loved one to a completely different person. And that's really hard. And the people that helped me with that, through that part of it, was NAMI, the National Association of Mental Illness. And they have support groups, and I will help.
And it's free.
After the show. Yeah, it's free. After the show, if you email us, we'll give you my email address, and I will get you all the information on NAMI. I am so happy that you have had him evaluated and that you know that a stroke has occurred. That's his issue, and you've helped him get that diagnosis, and you've helped him through that part of it. I think something very, very important for you is that if this is a severe case and he's spending through your money and he is jeopardizing your financial security and safety, that is not okay. And you should seek, and this will not be easy, and I will also help you through this. You should try to seek legal guardianship or conservatorship over the money, or separate half of the money, or separate or protect the house in some way. You are in a very, very vulnerable situation right now, and you have to take control of it. You cannot sit back to this, because you will end up in your golden years desolate with nothing.
Just to interject real quick, Casey, you're nailing some really great points. Just to interject, Casey, one of the things, particularly for women in societies and in cultures and religions and so forth, where the sort of man is head of the household or man is the leader, it's hard to make this shift, but what he is fundamentally indicating by his actions, not the least of which is impulsive and angry, is that he is incapable of leading. And when you have been the follower in any situation, a work situation, a movement, a family, one of the hardest things is, shit, I guess I got to lead. And even if leading is you leading yourself out the door to protect yourself, but the leader is non compos mentis. It's just like the leader is, there's a vote of no confidence. He cannot be trusted. He doesn't know how to lead. Maybe he did before. He doesn't know how to lead anymore. And even before, he wasn't talking to his right-hand woman about the major decisions, but he can't lead. So to your point, KC, you now have to protect yourself, Tawny. You're absolutely right, Casey. Go ahead, Casey.
And this must feel really scary to you, because maybe this is not something that you have done your entire life, but this is you will end up with nothing if he's having impulse issues.
Yeah.
So you've brought him to the doctors. The doctors need to do their job. You have done all you can there. Now it's up to them. It's up to the medical professionals with your input. So if you're still seeing that he's impulsive and things like that, you have to convey that. NAMI can help you if you can't afford it or whatever. Get lawyers to help get guardianship. It will not be easy. Okay, so you have two choices: guardianship or take possession of 50% of the wealth.
Divorce.
Because he is going to spend through your money. Now you can divorce him legally and still stay married to him emotionally and still live there and everything. But separate your assets from him, because he is going to devastate your life. That is the most important thing that you can do for yourself and for your children right now. Because whatever you don't spend through, that's your children's inheritance. And so if you can't think about yourself, I want you to think about those kids. They don't deserve to not inherit from the two of you after a lifetime of working. So not to get stuck on that, but to me, that's the most important thing you do. And I will help you through that as much as I can. There is no guilt and no shame in wanting to live your life. Okay? Your children deserve a mother that's alive and happy and healthy, at least. Their father is not healthy. Right? So you got to keep yourself healthy, if not for yourself, for them.
And for yourself. But yes.
I mean, if she can't think about herself, because many people feel guilt in feeling, in doing things for themselves. And I'm one of them. And so sometimes I put my kids there and I say, okay, it's not for myself, for them.
Good point.
Okay. But the book will help you have self-love. And you don't have to divorce him and move out and think about finding a new love. Many women today are living on their own or living with a friend or a roommate. There are plenty. You can go into a situation where you live with a roommate to start out with. You don't have to get your own apartment or anything like that.
Yep.
So, we're here to give you as much support as we can. NAMI is available to give you support. I thank Sven for being patient and letting me talk through all that with you. But we have never had a case that I can remember like yours.
No,
you're dealing with something. You're not just dealing with somebody that potentially was an asshole beforehand, but you're dealing with somebody that is suffering mental illness. And that's really hard. And I'm sorry.
But in the end, you are eating shit every single day of your life.
And you don't have to.
And you don't have to. Mental illness or not, there are plenty. One of the hard decisions for parents who have children who are drug addicts, for people who have someone they love dearly and maybe even feel responsible for, is very often the day comes where you have to step back. You have to walk away, even though you love them, because they're destroying you. Imagine having to walk away from a child that is addicted or has a severe mental illness, and it's just, I can't do it anymore. Slightly differently, my mother, when my dad was 91, said, I can't take care of him anymore, or 90. And so we had put dad in a nursing home, which dad had been a pastor. And so he had been in nursing homes his whole life. So he's like, okay, let's go. But he mourned not going to bed with his wife every night as he had for the last 70 years. So that was 65, whatever. So the point is, it was very hard for her to not take care of her sense of obligation to her husband, no matter what. That was a big one. But she saw that it was an end of life thing. This is very different. You're fucking 43. And it's giving yourself permission. But I just want to, before I hand it to Rob for sort of closing thoughts, I want to remind you. Actually, I'm going to let Rob give his closing thoughts, and I'm going to remind you of one last thing. Go ahead, Rob.
Sven, over on YouTube, they're watching us record this podcast, and a great comment from his kitty cat, who says, he's not showing up for you now. Do you think he's going to show up for you if you have a stroke? You're not a horrible bitch. You're lovely. You're just frightened, and that's okay. It's a process, and yes, you matter. And Sven, from my personal experience, sometimes, and not always, people use medical or psychological diagnoses as an excuse for bad behavior, and it's up to the partner to figure out whether it's beyond the other's control or if they're just full of shit. And it's not easy.
Well, and we just determined 3 years ago it was bullshit. He could fucking change. He changed his shit. He quit his job. He got rid of the old phone. And then, 6 months later, he's back at it. He can change if he's fucking motivated. It's just like, come on. And furthermore, do you even want to play that fucking cat and mouse game? And how much do I want to spend the rest of my life trying to figure out if he's just using this as a fucking excuse? And maybe he's not in a big way, but maybe he's doing it 10%. So what 10% is he cutting corners and saying, hey, I have my brain thing? It's just like, fuck, man. And I love what Kitty Cat said on YouTube. That was brilliant. Of what happens if something happens to you. You talk about what KC was saying about the vulnerability of the family. Jesus, Mary and Joseph. So what, you're supposed to be in stellar health for the next 50 fucking years of your life? Till you're fucking 100 or 93 and he's fucking 100 and whatever. And it's just like, you can't have one fucking illness or the whole ship goes fucking ass over tea kettle. You know, I mean, come on. But I want to go back to one fucking point. I asked you. You had said, I'm trying to figure out how to be both a caregiver and a wife. And I said, yes. But what percent do you want to be a caregiver and a wife? And you said 0%. And then we determined that you don't, we just determined you don't want to. And the one biggest voice inside of you, even 95% to this day, is your mom's voice saying, you're selfish, horrible person for leaving. You know what you want. You know exactly what you want. And your mother is killing you from the fucking inside. From the grave. Any final thoughts, Tawny?
I think I know what I need to do. And you helped me uncover the stuck and what had me stuck. And while I love who he was, I don't think I can live with the verbal abuse and the aggression or the impulsive behavior for the rest of his life or mine.
And being taught that you're not wanted sexually and that he wants all these other women in it, for all you know, he's fucking cheating it. I mean, there's that little thing.
Yeah.
And then as Casey noted, also the vulnerability of your finances. And I mean, Jesus, I mean, with all the anger, has he already driven your children away, or is he going to drive your children away? So then
yes.
Right. He has.
Yeah.
You're right.
Mm-hmm.
So now you don't even get to be near your children, or you have to do it on the fucking side. And your children are probably thinking, when's mom just going to leave him? Or at the very least, your children are thinking, I miss mom. Tawny, I got to tell you, it has been a treat having you on the show. I know that may sound weird considering all we went into, but as KC said, we've never had someone in such a situation as this. And so this has been really solid for us, but your honesty is refreshing. Your openness is refreshing. And it's amazing. You can move heaven and earth when you're open. And so I encourage you to do the journaling and to dive into the book. There's a hole in my love cup and badass wisdom. And as Casey said, Community Plus is there, our community on the website. But so many opportunities, and we're with you. I support you. Stay in touch with the show. There's some massive change, but I think you're ready. You're finding your strength. That seed inside of the nut is cracking open, and your divine no is rising up from within and saying, no, this is not me. And it's time to become who I was meant to become. I believe in you, Tawny. You're great. You're great.
Thank you.
You bet. Thanks for being on the show. And on behalf of my team here, I want to thank Tawny and all of our listeners around the world. Have a kick-ass day.
The Badass Counseling Show is strictly copyrighted. No copies may be made without the express written consent of the Badass Counseling Show, LLC. The Badass Counseling Show is produced by Karen Camparelli and Robert H. Friedman. Executive producer Sven Erlandson. Original music by two-time Emmy Award-winning composer Trevor Morris. Have a kick-ass day.